Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story School, where each story is a step towards mastering English. Let's embark on this learning adventure together. Have you ever paused to consider what it truly means to be part of a community? Imagine the simple act of being a good neighbor, a gesture so small yet so profound that it has the power to weave the fabric of your life into a beautiful tapestry with those around you. What if just a smile, a helping hand, or a kind word could ripple through your neighborhood, transforming it from a place where people live side by side into a home where everyone belongs? Welcome to The Helpful Neighbors, where we embark on a journey to explore how small acts of kindness and a shared sense of togetherness can turn a neighborhood into something extraordinary. Ready to uncover the hidden power of a friendly smile and a helping hand? Let's dive in. At the heart of this charming neighborhood, life flows at a gentle pace. Here, the morning begins with the aroma of fresh coffee mingling with the crisp morning air, as neighbors exchange warm greetings across well-kept lawns. The sound of children's laughter, unburdened by the worries of the world, fills the streets like music. Yet, as idyllic as it seems, this neighborhood holds stories that go beyond the surface. Tales of kindness, of challenges overcome, and of the remarkable bonds that are forged when people choose to come together. And like all communities, this one has its heartbeat, a pulse that beats stronger with every act of connection and compassion. Our story begins here, in this humble home where an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson has lived for over 40 years. She has seen the neighborhood blossom from its early days, watched as families moved in and out, and witnessed the quiet passage of time. But as the years went by, Mrs. Thompson found herself more and more alone. Her children, grown and with lives of their own, had moved away. Her husband, the love of her life, had long since passed, leaving her with a heart full of memories and a house full of silence. Yet, despite her loneliness, Mrs. Thompson never lost her warmth. Every morning she would step out onto her porch, greeting the day with a smile, and offering a kind word to anyone who passed by, especially the children who often found their way to her lovingly maintained garden. But even the kindest of souls can't carry on alone forever. One day, as Mrs. Thompson was returning from her weekly trip to the grocery store, she found herself struggling with a particularly heavy bag. The steps to her porch, which had once been so easy to climb, now seemed like a mountain. Just as she was about to give up and leave the bag on the steps, a figure appeared. Jake, a young man who had recently moved in next door. He was new to the neighborhood, a face she hadn't yet become familiar with, but his actions spoke louder than any introduction. Without a moment's hesitation, Jake offered his help. He didn't know much about Mrs. Thompson, didn't know the stories held within the walls of her home, or the years of life she had lived. But something about the way she thanked him, with a mixture of surprise and deep gratitude, touched his heart. This small act of kindness, seemingly insignificant to the outside world, was the beginning of something much larger. It was the spark that would soon ignite a beautiful friendship, one that would ripple out and touch the entire neighborhood. Jake began to check in on Mrs. Thompson regularly, bringing her fresh bread from the bakery on his way home from work, offering to help with chores that had become too difficult for her, and even sharing meals with her on those lonely evenings when the silence felt too heavy. Mrs. Thompson, in return, would share stories of the neighborhood's history, tales of times long past, and the wisdom of her years. These moments, small and quiet, became the foundation of a bond that would soon draw others in. As the days passed, something incredible began to happen. The kindness that Jake had shown to Mrs. Thompson didn't go unnoticed. Other neighbors, inspired by what they saw, began to reach out as well. The single mother down the street, who had been struggling to balance work and caring for her young children, found support from the family next door, who offered to watch her kids while she worked. The retired couple on the corner, who had once felt isolated in their empty nest, started organizing community events, block parties, weekend picnics, and even a neighborhood watch program, bringing people together in ways that hadn't been seen in years. As the sun began to rise higher in the sky, casting warm golden rays over the neighborhood, a palpable change swept through the streets, igniting a vibrant spirit of camaraderie. It was as if a gentle breeze had whispered to each resident, encouraging them to step outside, reach out, and connect with one another. The fences that had once stood as silent barriers separating homes and lives seemed to dissolve into thin air. Neighbors no longer saw themselves as mere inhabitants of adjacent houses. They began to recognize that they were part of a thriving, interconnected community, a tapestry woven together by shared experiences, laughter, and kindness. In the heart of this transformation was Sarah, a single mother who had often felt overwhelmed by the weight of her responsibilities. Juggling work and parenting had left her feeling isolated, her days filled with the demands of life that seemed to press down on her shoulders. But now, a shift had occurred. As she stepped outside one morning, she found herself greeted by a chorus of friendly waves and smiles from neighbors who had previously been strangers. It wasn't just a casual greeting, it was a genuine acknowledgement of her presence, a recognition that she was a valued part of the community. Sarah soon discovered that the village of support she longed for was now right at her fingertips. Within days, offers of help began to pour in. One neighbor, Jennifer, volunteered to watch her son for an hour each week, giving Sarah a precious opportunity to catch her breath or run errands. Another neighbor, Tom, offered to help with yard work, making the task less daunting. With each act of kindness, Sarah felt the weight lift, replaced by a warm sense of belonging. She realized she was not alone in her struggles. She was surrounded by people who genuinely cared. Across the street, the elderly couple, Mr. and Mrs. Baker, had lived in their quaint brick home for decades. Their days had often been quiet, filled with the comfort of familiarity, but also marked by loneliness. They would sit together on their front porch, watching the world go by, their conversations often slipping into silence as they reminisced about the past. However, this newfound community spirit breathed life into their home. Young families began to flock to their porch, bringing laughter and energy that echoed through the air like music. Children played games in the yard, their joyous shouts cutting through the stillness and inviting Mr. and Mrs. Baker into the vibrant tapestry of life surrounding them. One sunny afternoon, a group of kids organized an impromptu picnic in the park. The Bakers, initially hesitant, were coaxed into joining the festivities. They brought along a batch of freshly baked cookies, which quickly became the highlight of the day. As they shared stories and laughter with the families, they felt the warmth of connection wrap around them, melting away the loneliness that had once permeated their home. The couple found themselves smiling more, their hearts swelling with gratitude as they recognized that they were now part of something much larger than themselves. Meanwhile, Mrs. Thompson, the widow who had lived alone in her charming little cottage for years, was experiencing her own beautiful awakening. Known for her kind spirit and homemade pies, she had always looked out for her neighbors, offering help whenever she could. Yet, despite her generosity, she often felt the sting of isolation as the world outside her door seemed to move on without her. Now, however, the tables had turned. With the new spirit of togetherness flourishing, her neighbors began to look out for her just as she had always looked out for them. One evening, a knock on her door revealed a group of young families, each carrying dishes brimming with food. "We thought we'd bring dinner to you tonight," they exclaimed, their faces beaming with excitement. Overwhelmed with emotion, Mrs. Thompson invited them in, her heart swelling with joy. The simple act of sharing a meal became a feast of stories and laughter, a bridge between generations. As they sat around her kitchen table, Mrs. Thompson found herself at the center of vibrant conversations, her home filled with life and energy. She felt cherished, reminded that she was a valued member of the community, not just a kind neighbor. As the weeks turned into months, this sense of togetherness deepened, creating a rich tapestry of relationships that connected each household. Block parties became a regular occurrence, where laughter and music filled the air, and neighbors danced together under the stars. Gardening clubs sprouted, where families shared tips and seeds, nurturing not just plants, but also friendships. Even impromptu book clubs emerged, with residents gathering in backyards, sharing stories and ideas, their connections growing stronger with each meeting. The neighborhood had transformed into a living, breathing entity, a community alive with the spirit of unity. They supported each other through life's challenges, celebrated each other's joys, and created a shared narrative that was rich with kindness and compassion. One day, as Sarah sat on her porch, watching her son play with the other children, she reflected on how far they had come. The vibrant energy that now filled the neighborhood was a testament to the strength of their connections. She smiled, knowing that she was no longer just a single mother living next to others. She was part of a family, a network of caring souls who lifted each other up and celebrated the beauty of life together. And so, as the sun set on another beautiful day, casting a warm glow over the community, the neighbors felt a collective sense of gratitude. They had built more than just a neighborhood. They had cultivated a legacy of togetherness that would thrive for generations to come. In a world that often feels disconnected, they had found their way back to each other, creating something truly remarkable: a home, a family, a place where kindness reigned supreme. The impact of these small acts of kindness began to show in every corner of the neighborhood. Mrs. Thompson's garden, once a solitary project that she had tended to with care and love, became a symbol of the community's newfound togetherness. Neighbors, young and old, began to bring over plants and seeds, helping her garden to flourish in ways she had never imagined. Each new bloom, each vibrant flower, was a testament to the power of a helping hand and the beauty that comes from working together. And it wasn't just the garden that was blooming. The entire neighborhood seemed to come alive, as if the very ground beneath their feet had been nourished by the kindness they were showing each other. People who had once been strangers were now friends, and the sense of isolation that had crept into the neighborhood over the years was replaced with a strong sense of belonging. What had started as a simple act of helping one neighbor had sparked a chain reaction, turning a collection of houses into a true community, a place where everyone felt they belonged. As the months gracefully transformed into years, the seeds of kindness that had been sown in the community took root and flourished, weaving a vibrant tapestry of goodwill that bound neighbors together. What began as simple gestures, a helping hand here, a kind word there, morphed into a beautiful tradition that the entire neighborhood came to embrace wholeheartedly. Each year, as the days grew longer and the scent of spring filled the air, anticipation would begin to build in the hearts of the residents. It was a time when the community would come together to celebrate their shared commitment to kindness, a day that they lovingly dubbed the Kindness Celebration. Weeks before the event, a palpable excitement would ripple through the neighborhood. Colorful flyers, crafted with care and creativity, would flutter in the wind, announcing the date and inviting everyone to participate. Children would eagerly help their parents prepare, creating handmade decorations and drawing vibrant banners that proclaimed messages of love and unity. Together, we thrive, and kindness is our superpower, became the rallying cries that echoed throughout the streets. As the sun rose on the day of the kindness celebration, the neighborhood sparkled with life and color. Families emerged from their homes, greeted by the warm embrace of sunshine and the cheerful sounds of laughter. The town square, once just a patch of pavement, transformed into a bustling hub of activity, adorned with balloons, colorful tablecloths, and twinkling lights strung between trees. Evelyn, one of the driving forces behind the tradition, took great joy in organizing the festivities. She set up a large table, overflowing with homemade treats, cookies, cakes, and savory delights, each dish lovingly prepared by neighbors who wanted to contribute. The air was thick with the delightful aroma of baked goods, mingling with the earthy scent of fresh flowers that adorned the space. As the gathering began, people shared stories of kindness that had touched their lives over the past year. Evelyn took to the stage, a smile lighting up her face as she welcomed everyone. Today, we come together not just to celebrate kindness, but to reflect on how it has shaped our community, she declared, her voice carrying warmth and enthusiasm. One by one, neighbors stepped forward to share their tales. There was Mr. Thompson, the retired schoolteacher, who spoke of how his neighbor, Sarah, had brought him meals when he was recovering from surgery. His eyes sparkled with gratitude as he recounted how her kindness had lifted his spirits during a challenging time. Then came young Lily, who bravely shared how she and her friends had decided to organize a cleanup day for the local park. "We wanted to give back to the place where we play and have fun," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. The crowd erupted into applause, celebrating the initiative of the next generation. As stories unfolded, laughter and tears mingled, creating an atmosphere rich with emotion and connection. The neighborhood was not just a collection of houses. It was a community woven together by shared experiences, compassion, and a commitment to supporting one another. Newcomers to the area were welcomed with open arms, a beautiful tradition that Evelyn had championed. They were invited to share their stories, to express what kindness meant to them, and to forge new bonds within the community. Each new face was met with heartfelt smiles, ensuring that they felt the warmth and love that enveloped the gathering. The celebration also featured various activities that encouraged interaction among residents. Children raced to participate in games, while adults engaged in friendly competitions, potluck-style cook-offs, art contests, and even a kindness scavenger hunt, where participants would search for hidden notes of encouragement scattered throughout the park. Each activity was designed to foster connection and remind everyone of the importance of community. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the horizon in hues of orange and pink, the gathering shifted into a time of reflection. Evelyn led a candle-lighting ceremony, where each person was invited to light a candle and share a wish for kindness in the year to come. The flickering flames danced in the twilight, illuminating faces filled with hope and joy. In that moment of shared silence, the community felt an overwhelming sense of unity. They understood that kindness was not a one-time act, but a continuous journey, a commitment to look out for one another, to lend a hand when needed, and to uplift each other in times of struggle. As the night drew to a close, the celebration ended with music and dancing, the sound of laughter echoing in the night air. The bonds formed through shared kindness echoed long after the event, inspiring individuals to carry the spirit of the celebration into their everyday lives. The kindness celebration became more than just an annual event. It was a catalyst for deeper connections and a reminder of the power that a simple act of kindness could wield. Each year, as the neighborhood gathered to reflect on their journey, they rekindled their commitment to one another, ensuring that kindness would continue to thrive within their hearts and their community. Evelyn looked around at the faces illuminated by candlelight and laughter, filled with gratitude for the transformation that had taken place. The once quiet neighborhood had blossomed into a vibrant tapestry of kindness, where each person played a crucial role in nurturing the bonds that held them together. And as she joined in the dancing, she knew that this celebration was just the beginning, a spark that would ignite countless more acts of kindness in the years to come. In the heart of the neighborhood, a sense of anticipation hung in the air as the time approached for a momentous unveiling. The community had gathered, families, children, and friends, all abuzz with excitement and pride. It was a day dedicated to honoring the spirit of kindness that had blossomed among them, a spirit that had transformed their once quiet neighborhood into a thriving tapestry of support and compassion. As the crowd assembled, Evelyn stood at the front, her heart swelling with emotion. She had played a significant role in nurturing this community spirit, and today felt like a culmination of all their efforts. The sun shone brightly, casting a golden hue over the gathering, as laughter and chatter filled the air. Everyone was dressed in their best, ready to celebrate the legacy they had created together. At the center of the square, a beautifully crafted plaque stood covered by a rich, deep blue cloth, its surface glimmering in the sunlight. This plaque was more than just a piece of metal. It was a symbol, a testament to the countless acts of kindness that had been shared over the years. It bore the title, The Helpful Neighbors, a name that resonated deeply with every member of the community. Evelyn stepped forward, a gentle hush falling over the crowd as she prepared to speak. Today, we gather not only to unveil this plaque, but to honor the incredible journey we have taken together, she began, her voice warm and inviting. Each of you has played a role in making our neighborhood a place where kindness flourishes, where every gesture, no matter how small, counts. She paused for a moment, looking around at the familiar faces that had become like family to her. This plaque stands as a reminder of the power we hold in our hands, she continued. The power to heal, to uplift, and to create something beautiful in our lives and in the lives of those around us. As she spoke, she recalled specific moments that had defined their community, like the time when a fierce storm had left several homes damaged, and neighbors had come together with hammers, nails, and unwavering determination to help each other rebuild. She spoke of the young students who had baked cookies to brighten the spirits of the elderly residents, delivering smiles alongside sweet treats. Each story was a brushstroke in the masterpiece of kindness that had come to define their neighborhood. With a flourish, Evelyn stepped to the side, gesturing toward the plaque. And now, it is time to unveil this symbol of our unity. As she pulled the cloth away, gasps of awe echoed through the crowd. The plaque gleamed in the sunlight, engraved with intricate designs that represented the seasons of the year, each symbol reflecting the spirit of their shared kindness. The inscription read, "In honor of the helpful neighbors, where kindness knows no bounds, no act is too small, no gesture goes unnoticed. Together, we weave a tapestry of compassion that binds us as family." A wave of emotion swept over the crowd as they read the words. They could see their own reflections in the sentiment, a reminder that every smile shared, every door held open, and every hand extended had contributed to this remarkable legacy. As Evelyn stepped back, applause erupted, filling the air with an energy that felt almost electric. Neighbors embraced one another, some with tears of joy in their eyes, celebrating the collective journey they had embarked on. This plaque was not merely a tribute, it was a call to action, a reminder that their work was far from finished. In the days that followed the unveiling, the plaque became a focal point for the community. People would gather around it, sharing stories and laughing, reminiscing about the acts of kindness that had changed their lives. Children would play nearby, running around in circles while their parents sat on benches, engaging in conversations that deepened their connections. The plaque inspired new traditions too. Every year, on the anniversary of its unveiling, the community would host a kindness day, where they would share stories of the kindness they had witnessed over the past year and plan new initiatives to spread goodwill. Whether it was organizing a food drive, volunteering at a local shelter, or simply checking in on a neighbor, the spirit of the plaque lived on, urging them to act. But the plaque's impact extended beyond just the immediate community. As word spread about the kindness celebration and the plaque, nearby neighborhoods began to take notice. Inspired by the movement, they reached out to learn more about how to cultivate a similar spirit of togetherness. Evelyn and her fellow neighbors opened their hearts and shared their experiences, creating a ripple effect that began to extend far beyond the borders of their own community. And so, the plaque stood as a beacon of hope, reminding everyone who passed by of the incredible power that lies in kindness, the simple, beautiful truth that we are stronger together. In a world that often feels disconnected, it served as a steadfast reminder that when we choose to look out for one another, we are not just neighbors, we are family. Years later, as the seasons changed and new faces came to join the community, the plaque continued to shine as a symbol of unity. Children who had once listened to stories of kindness shared by their parents began to create their own tales, adding layers to the neighborhood's legacy. The message etched in metal became a living philosophy that shaped their interactions, fostering a culture where compassion thrived, reminding everyone that kindness is a gift that keeps on giving. Evelyn often walked by the plaque, feeling a profound sense of fulfillment. It represented not just the kindness they had shared, but also the hope they had ignited in one another. It became clear to her that in every act of kindness, no matter how small, lay the potential to change the world around them. And in this tightly knit community, they had proven that kindness was not just an act, but a way of life, a vibrant thread that bound them all together in an unbreakable bond. The story of the helpful neighbors serves as a profound reminder that the true strength of a community lies not in grand gestures or monumental achievements, but in the small, everyday acts of kindness that quietly and powerfully shape our lives. These seemingly simple actions, offering a helping hand, sharing a friendly smile, or just being there for one another, are the threads that weave the fabric of our communities, creating bonds that are unbreakable and resilient. These bonds have the extraordinary ability to transform not just the individuals involved, but the entire community, turning a collection of houses into a true home where every person feels welcomed, supported, and valued. It's in these moments of connection, where kindness is given freely and without expectation, that the real magic happens. We discover that the power to change lives and build a stronger, more compassionate world rests in our everyday interactions, reminding us that even the smallest acts of kindness can have an immeasurable impact, creating ripples of positivity that extend far beyond what we can imagine. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.